And now just quietly sit, keep your eyes closed. As you breathe in, mentally repeat Om. As you breathe out, mentally repeat Om. And now you can open your eyes. Today we'll talk about the alpha state. So when the mind is in the process of staying in the moment, like you just were, or in deep relaxed concentration, you're in an alpha state. And when you're in an alpha state, you feel calm. And there are a couple of things that happen. Not only do you feel calm, you are then become much more creative. In other words, there's something that happens inside of you to bring out your creativity. Because you're working with your intuitive mind. When you're in an alpha state, you're working with your intuitive mind. It's also at this stage that you can learn the most. Okay? They've done a lot of research like this on children and learning. And once you're in an alpha state, that is a wonderful way of learning. My guru always, she says, stop writing, listen. In other words, get your mind in an alpha state. Don't try to think or absorb it. Listen, and that way it will sink in. Okay, so that's okay. When you are in an alpha state, it activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which stimulates rest and repair. remember, rest and repair. Problem is, we are nowadays, we're rarely in an alpha state. We are constantly under pressure. We are constantly being asked to be external rather than internal. We're trained to be outward focused. And if you're inward focused, people think you're strange. Okay? So we are actually in a constant state of flight, and a constant state of being scared. The body is in a constant state of being afraid and bringing out adrenaline to fight whatever is out there. Yeah. And there's nothing out there. That's the problem. It's supposed to be when somebody comes at you that you have extra energy. You're not supposed to be in that kind of state all the time. This is not correct. Now we want to know why so much disease is going on, because you are never in rest and repair. And even if you're sitting down to watch a movie, or you're sitting down, you're watching TV, people are going to sleep with the news coming into their head before they go to sleep. They have the TV on, they have the radio on. If I'm listening to the news, I'm definitely not in rest and repair.
Fox News is great.
Never would go to watch that anyway. Alpha state is an absolute must for our health. Absolute must. I gave you a longer relaxation today. All right? So that it will sink in, because you might be in an alpha state now and you'll remember until I yell at you. We don't stay in that state. We need to get used to being in an alpha state. When we are in an alpha state, life doesn't seem to be so hard. Life is difficult, there's no question about it. But it doesn't need to be with all that tension. It can be, you can just work at it. Just like when you're doing yoga, and after you know it for a while, it becomes more natural, but the poses are still difficult to do. But they don't feel so difficult because you're familiar with it. Similarly, once we come into the alpha state, we begin to feel the same way. We get into knowing that it is there. So it's only a training of the mind. And because we're forced to be outside, you're driving, you're listening to the news, we're being almost forced to be constantly outside. So we have to train the mind to come inside. When you are present and deeply involved in the moment, even though you might be working very hard with your mind, and you might be working very hard with your body, but if you are in the present moment, with other words, you are so focused on what you're doing that you forget who's around you, right? And you're that focused, that's an alpha state. Even though your body can be extremely active. You know that when you, for people who go jogging or things like that, they go what they call the zone. That's an alpha state, even though the body is working. Okay? So that is a very, very important. Once you are in that state, you can be working hard, and you're in that state, you forget about the food, you forget time even, and the work goes easily. It's not attention work. It just flows. You're working. Let's say you're in the office and you're doing your work very nicely. You forget everything. Somebody comes in the door, you jump off your seat because you forgot where you were. That is being in a moment. That is what we call meditation. That is being in the moment. Very difficult to do for our mind because we've been trained to be jumping all over the place and become Hanuman jumping from branch to branch. Okay, we've been trained to be that monkey mind. So, once you practice being in an alpha state, the mind really likes it. And it will want to go back into it. And that's what you want to do. You want to train your mind to want to go back into the alpha state. Right now, you trained your mind to be excited. What does he call that? Scratching on the mind. Everybody wants to be scratched. So if you are too quiet, you'll go to the internet and you find something to be upset about. And then you'll post it on Facebook. Okay? Yeah. Let's look at the truth about this whole thing. We are so trained that once you are quiet, nowadays we go to the internet. Before it used to be the newspaper. Same difference. Okay? And get something to get the mind upset or scratch the mind. No. The mind is not supposed to be scratched. It's supposed to go into rest and repair. And your intuitive mind is supposed to come out. And what is your intuitive mind? It comes from the heart center. It gives you the ability to be creative. It gives you the ability to know who you're talking to. It gives you the ability to be able to contact other humans, or animals for that matter, since she's right here. You have empathy, which we talked about the other day. Okay? So takes that kind of mind. Now, our brain is made up of billions of neurons, and they convey information to our cells. Every cell has a neurotransmitter. Some cells have a lot more neurotransmitters. Candace Pert made that quite in 1980s. Finally, science caught up with yoga. Okay. So, and those activities of the neurons result in thoughts, feelings, and our behavior. Our thoughts and emotions create activity in the brain, of course, and that we can measure with an EEG. Electrocephalograph. That's a long mouthful for me, not very good. Brain waves we divide into 5, not 4. I'm going to tell you about the last one we never talk about. Okay, so when you're in deepest state of dreamless sleep, you're in delta wave, which is 0.5 to 3 hertz per second. Okay. Very slow waves. And you're not even dreaming, because once you're dreaming, the mind is active. Okay? Now, theta, but is from 3 to 8, and that is during sleep, but not dreaming, but is still in sleep. Also in Zen meditation, you're in theta waves. Okay? That if you go into meditation, you will go into theta waves. Those are 3 to 8 hertz. Now, alpha, well, some people call it the brain idling. Well, the brain doesn't ever idle. It just means you are not working the brain. The brain is naturally flowing. And if you're in the moment and you're working hard and you're concentrating, it's a natural flow. Just like when you're jogging, you're in the zone, the body automatically goes and you're not even thinking about the body moving. It's a natural state to be in. So in alpha state, you can be extremely busy, and it's when you're concentrating, when you're mindful, and when we're in meditation, you're in alpha state. Okay? And that's 8 to 12. 8 to 12 hertz. Then the next state, which I don't even have the name of it and I forgot, whatever the name is, default beta waves, 12 to 30 hertz. That's usually what you are in the waking state. And remember, it can go from 12 to 30, so it depends on how much you are being, activated. So you can almost be in a normal state of mind, or you can go into fight and flight, which is 30. Okay? So you're usually somewhere in between that in your waking state. Alert, attentive, engaged, all right? Now, the fastest brainwave, the very fastest, 25 to 100 hertz, is not fight and flight. It's called gamma, and it is a way to process information from a different dimension. Isn't that interesting? Okay. And it has been associated with the highest state of conscious perception. Only primarily they will find it in Zen meditators that have meditated for like 20, 30 years. That's all they do is meditate. Very rare, that gamma wave, but they can find it in those meditators.
Is that measurable?
Yeah,
They can measure it.
of course, everything is measurable.
No,
That's an EEG, okay? The endocrine system, the nervous system, is responsible for regulating and maintaining homeostasis, all right? And the nervous system is principally composed of your brain, spinal cord, nerves, ganglia, and all those millions of receptors that you have everywhere, so you can feel everything, okay? And they go into electrical signals called nerve impulses, and they're going to the brain. They turn and create sensation to produce thoughts. The central nervous system includes the brain, spinal cord, while the peripheral nervous system is split into somatic and autonomic. The somatic nervous system moves the skeletal muscle. The anatomical nervous system split into sympathetic and parasympathetic. And that's where we really wish to work on. The sympathetic nervous system, fight and flight, and the parasympathetic, rest and repair. Okay? So, you understand that really? That's a quickie biology lesson. Now, how do we get into this? Primarily through the vagus nerve. Our vagus nerve starts at the ascension chakra back here and goes through the whole physical body, okay, all the way down to the colon. When stimulated, these nerves regulate the internal organs and glands. Its role includes stimulation of rest, digestion, sexual arousal, salivation, tears, urination, digestion, and defecation. It plays a vital role in maintaining both mental and physical health by helping the body to calm down from stressful situations. The vagus nerve is so important. Guess what? Chanting Om stimulates the vagus nerve. We start every class by chanting Om. If you ever sat by yourself and just chanted for 5 minutes, you'd be stoned. Yeah.
Somebody told me that. They did it before they went to sleep. They had stress, and they did it for like 10 minutes, and they
Yeah.
got into a calm state.
Yeah. You want a healthy body mind? You have to begin to understand that every moment is now. This moment is gone by the next minute. And what you remember of the past is not real. It's all in your mind. Why do we go to the past? It's not there. Right? Is the past really real? It's in here. God knows what you've done to it by now. Every time you think about something, it changes, right? You have a different emotion. Haven't you heard about people that give one sentence and they whisper it to the whole, and by the time it's through, it's another sentence? Well, every time you think about your past, you have a different emotion within you, so it becomes a different thought. So it's your imagination, it's not the truth. And so many people are all tense because they're thinking about the past, or they have energy or distrust, or they want to have revenge, or they can't forgive somebody. Remember, I told you forgiving is an absolute must because it's putting you in tension. It's putting you in tension. You don't have to tell them you forgive them. You just have to do it. Okay, let the questions come after because I'm also recording. Okay? So, you have to realize you must be more in the moment. And then what happens? I like this moment, so I'm already projecting it for the future. Guess what? I'm not enjoying the moment. I'm thinking, well, in the future I'll enjoy it. Well, wait a minute, I just liked it. Why am I not enjoying it now? Why am I projecting it to the future? In the future I will enjoy it. Yeah, see how ridiculous our mind is? What is happening now, we compare to what has happened before in the past without our memory. So you're really not experiencing what is happening right this moment. You're experiencing what is happening this moment with the color of what has happened to you in the past. So even while I'm talking to you and you're sitting here very nicely, almost in an alpha state, whatever I'm saying, you're comparing to something that you have heard before. And am I right or wrong? That's the next question you're going to ask in your mind. Do I believe her or don't I believe her? Do I want to believe her? No, or I don't want to believe her. That's what goes into your mind. Rather than just listening and deciding later. Okay? But this is who we are. So everything we're experiencing, we're not really experiencing anything truthfully. We're experiencing, so that's why every single individual has a different world around them. You have your own little world, you have your own little world, I have my own little world. Everybody has their own little world and we're trying to live together. And then we want to know why we clash. No. Being in the moment means enjoying right now. Enjoy the pain. Enjoy the beauty. Enjoy the joy. Okay? That is being in the moment. And can we really make a decision without really thinking about it from that moment on? And when you're listening, so when people talk to us, the first thing we think about is how to respond. We're not even listening. We already have the response in our mind. or the question, or the judgment, either one. So we really have never really listened to another person. If you really want to examine yourself, do we really truly listen? The first thing that happens is we judge. Right? Another person is talking to you. Are they for real? We judge. First thing we do. So, and then you want to know why humans cannot get along. Because we don't even listen to one another. We half listen. The one half comes in and the other half judges, and then the whole thing, and then it's trying to be compassionate or any one of those things. It's not possible. But this all creates tension in us. It creates tension. We need to come into an alpha state so that our intuition, our heart center, all of that opens up in an alpha state. And so when you're in an alpha state, you listen and you understand. Same way, when you're in an alpha state, you will learn, you will really hear what is being said without the judgment, without thinking about it in the future. I will learn. The minute you write it down, you say to yourself, I'm going to learn this in the future when I look at the paper. When Mataji said that to me, she said, stop taking notes. And I go, huh? I mean, we're all taught to take notes, right? So that we will remember. Yeah. It's the truth, because the minute I take notes, I'm going to remember this in the future. And then, of course, then she goes, take out your notebook. When she wants to teach something that I have to memorize. Okay? But yes, understand how our mind goes. Once you understand the mind, you can work with it. But you have to practice going into an alpha state. And once you are in an alpha state and in the moment, it's called meditation. It is called mindfulness. Okay? And your body goes into rest and repair. Isn't that wonderful? You know that the body repairs itself. Doctors don't repair your body. You repair your body. You might get some medicine to help you repair the body, but you have to repair the body. Your mind has to repair the body. Your energy has to repair the body. You might need some support, but if it's a broken leg, they set it, but the body has to do the work. And the more you talk to the body, the faster it sets. Okay? If you ever see yogis who have had their broken limb set, and they put their hand on it, and the doctor goes, oh, wow, they take the x-ray, wow, it's almost healed already. It goes much faster, because if the mind goes there, and if you send the energy there, it goes there. It heals faster, okay? So these are all things you have to realize, that we have these tools within us, but because we are being forced by our society and by our environment to be external rather than internal. Okay? We have too many diseases. We have too many problems. We can't really solve the problems. We have too many negative ideas behind in our head. Of course, they can come from previous karmas and so forth. But once you see that they are there, then you can bring them forth and just let them go. Okay? So toning, any toning. And if you don't want to tone, sing in the shower in the morning. It's okay. If you're singing in the shower, you're opening the vocal cords. And it's very soothing. Our own voice singing is very soothing. When we're singing, not when we're listening to it on a tape recorder, then it bothers us. then we will always find fault. But when we're in the shower or when you're by yourself and you're singing, it actually, this chakra opens and is very healing. Very healing. And only if you can just go, ah, who cares? But the sound of our voice is very soothing. Toning is one of the best methods because what? It activates your vagus nerves. And your vagus nerve connects the brain with the physical body. So you're helping it along. So when you're by yourself, start singing. Okay? The American Indians, if you came to a shaman and they would and you say, I'm depressed, the first thing they will ask you, when did you stop singing? When did you stop dancing? Ah. Have we stopped being natural? Look at children. They run around, they dance, they until the parents say, stop it. But they sing and they dance. This is natural for us. Dancing is limbering up. Okay. And what are we? Oh, nobody should see me. Okay. This is not good. Shambhavi Mudra. Sit up nice and straight. I do this with you so often, but you never do it on your own. Gently focus your eyes right here with the eyes open. Gently. And keeping the eyes there, gently, slowly drop your eyelids, very gently, not all the way, just drop them. Let them relax. But keep your focus between the eyebrows, very gentle focus. Okay. You can open your eyes normally. What was your mind doing? Ah! Isn't that amazing? If I told you right now to sit down and have your mind doing nothing, can you do that? Ah, but with Shambhavi Mudra, it stops working. Isn't that amazing? And you tell me, I can't stop my mind. Well, just look up here. Later. Okay? Sukhapuvak. Sukhapuvak is happy breathing. Close the right nostril. Inhale through the left. Close the left. Open the right. Exhale. Inhale through the right. Close the right. Open the left. Exhale. Exhale through the left. Close it. Open the right. Exhale. Back and forth in a horseshoe. Guess what? And each time you inhale, mentally repeat Om. Each time you exhale, mentally repeat Om. Okay. And relax. What does that do? It might not keep your mind as steady as Shambhavi Mudra, but it balances your right and left hemisphere. And once that's balanced, you will come into an alpha state. Okay? But that will have to be practiced for a prolonged period of time or on a regular basis. Okay? Now, I would like you to make a commitment, because my time is up now. Make a commitment to practice. Practice. You can also do tratak. I used to see Mataji stopping somewhere and all of a sudden staring. Tratak means pointing, your eyes pointed into one point only, so a dot somewhere, or Shambhavi Mudra. But I want to read you something that Nikola Tesla wrote. Okay? And why, and then you can really understand why I'm so insistent that you should be in more alpha states. Alpha waves in the human brain are between 6 and 8 hertz, according to him. The wave frequency of the human cavity resonates between 6 and 8. All biological systems operate in the same frequency range. The human brain alpha wave function in this range, and the electrical resonance of the earth is the same. That's our entire biological system. The brain, the earth itself, work on the same frequencies. If we can control that resonant system electronically, we can directly control the entire mental system of humankind. Well, in other words, when you're in an alpha state, you're one with Mother Earth. You're one with Mother Earth. And so we'll chant Om. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om.